EA have turned the World Cup into the worst football tournament that you have ever seen. Forget the passion of a World Cup, forget the giant killings, or even the new format. FC26's version is so broken that it makes almost no sense. Imagine a World Cup with just 28 teams, most of them from Europe, while massive nations like Nigeria, Belgium, Uruguay and Croatia don't even exist. And honestly, that's just the start of the disaster. It has been quite obvious that EA don't care about national team management in FIFA for quite a while now. In the game, you get a random offer from a nation you probably don't care about, you pick a squad of players that barely change in overall rating, you play a match and then you probably resign because of how boring the whole experience was. But this year is a new low. The last month of Season 1, of course, is the World Cup that's in the USA, Mexico and Canada, but I'm telling you, this thing is borderline outrageous. If you thought it was bad that FC25 only had 29 national teams, then this year you're going to be even more annoyed because there's only 28 in the game. If you're from New Zealand, then I'm very sorry because you've actually been deleted from the world. You know what that means though. You can't even get close to playing a regular 32 team tournament. Instead we get this version that you're seeing right here. There are 6 groups of 4 teams, which is 24 of the 28 sides in the game all playing every tournament, which means there's also no round of 32 stage like the real tournament had. This is how the World Cups worked in FIFA career mode for quite a few years now, and it was bad enough at simulating Qatar 22, but 2026 is different. There's going to be 48 teams going to North America next summer, so you're a full 20 teams away, not just 4, 20 teams. Now, this isn't too unexpected with the loss of the FIFA license, but the World Cup is the World Cup. PES has always had the correct structure in Master League, Football Manager still has the correct structure inside that game, and even the old version working correctly with still 32 teams would probably have been fine to most people. EA's obsession seems to be with licensed national teams, and I really don't see why this is the case. National teams don't have to be licensed, and nations like Nigeria, Belgium, Egypt, Algeria, Uruguay and so many more have enough players in the database to have a full squad of 23, but for some reason EA just CBA to add them. Modders can easily add 20 to 50 national teams to the game, most of them not even needing to create players because there's so many in the database already. I've actually made this graph to show how bad things have become. This is how many national teams were in each game and separated by continent. For example, FIFA 20 was amazing for national teams. There were 49 in the game, enough for the new full format plus 1 team missing out. In fact, from FIFA 14 to 22, there were never less than 47 nations that you could pick. That meant that you could have a full Asian Cup, a full South American Cup, and a European Cup in the same save all happening. But if we look deeper into the farce, you'll find that now there's actually only a combined 6. That's right, 6 national teams from North America, South America, Asia and Africa combined. These teams are Argentina, Ghana, Mexico, Morocco, Qatar and the USA. It's not the best selection really, is it? The Euros in the game uses 18 teams from Europe, but the World Cup is basically the same as that, just with those 6 teams thrown in. It must be awful if you're a career mode fan who's not European, and even if you are European, you've got to recognise that teams like Panama, Iran, North Korea and nations like that qualifying is a huge part of the fun of a World Cup. In one of my simulations, 14 of the final 16 teams were European, with Ghana and USA then losing in the round of 16. Because of the lack of nations, the World Cup is basically just the Euros with a different name. There was no surprise Morocco semi-finals appearance like 2023. 2 of the last 8 in 2018 were non-European and 4 of the final 8 in 2014, which included teams like Costa Rica. The lack of tiny clubs from different parts of the world is a big reason the World Cup feels so bad inside FC26. But really, that's only the beginning, because the tournament itself makes no sense. If you look at the group stages, you can see that the teams are drawn unseeded, so you could easily end up with France, England, Spain and Argentina in one group. But Match Sim also seems to make no sense when it comes to national teams. In this simulation of the group stages, France, England and Argentina all got knocked out. Or did they? Because there's actually so few teams that 3rd place France was actually rescued and put into the knockout round. Player performances in the World Cup are also pretty broken. In a different simulation, England made the semi-finals and lost, but Anthony Gordon got 6 goals in 6 games, Kane got a single goal, and in the same tournament, Julian Brandt was the best player with an average rating of 0.07 out of 10. That is right, 0.07. It really seems like something is broken with the match sim when it comes to national teams. I have to admit, one thing that isn't broken anymore is player sharpness. On older games, this would be constantly locked to 0 if you're in a national team, and your players would just feel really bad. But team sharpness is now maxed out at 100 for every single national team game. Still though, there is no reason to switch your teams around other than just playing your 11 best players, because only overall rating matters yet again. I've said this before, but it feels like EA is missing a massive part of managing a national team here. Players in form that force their way into the squad is a huge part of the pre-World Cup or Euro squad announcement hype. We saw it with the England Euro squad, with Maddison being hyped over Foden, Grealish over Rashford. We even saw Calvin Phillips over Champions League winning captain that year, Jordan Henderson. Players like Walter Meeder in the game are now at risk of having Royce and Tommy Muller picked ahead of them on FC26 just because their ratings are slightly lower than the veteran attacking midfielders. You can also recall retired players like Lewandowski and Szczesny because there's no marker or anything to say they can't be called up. Players still don't have a second nationality, so there's no risk of losing one of your best players if you don't call them up. It just seems like there's basically no strategy to managing a national team in this game. In my opinion, the overall ratings for national team players should probably be hidden, or at least semi-random for national team players. Some are better with their nation than their club. For example, in the FIFA 23 World Cup mode, Gareth Bale was an 87 for Wales. In the regular game for Spurs, he was an 81. With the new deeper simulation systems, the game could also probably just display goals and assists or maybe average match ratings over the past few months to help you pick your squad better. But even if EA did fix the squad selection system, it wouldn't matter that much when the whole tournament itself keeps falling apart in the most bizarre ways. It seems like every time they patch one thing with national teams, 3 old problems come back. But there's one annoying bug that has been haunting FIFA for years and somehow has still never been fixed. Sadly, players will still retire halfway through a World Cup. In this save, Ronaldo carried Portugal through the knockout stages only to retire at the end of June. It completely killed the immersion of that save and just makes the mode feel unfinished, as if Ronaldo would do half of a World Cup when he has a chance to win it and secure that legacy. It feels like EA has never actually playtested most of the scenarios in this game. Combine that with the broken simulations, the missing nations, and the butchered tournament structure, what you're left with is a World Cup that feels more like a relic from FIFA 11 than the greatest stage in football on the newest and highest budget football simulation game. At the end of the day, the World Cup should be the crown jewel in any football manager's career. It's the most watched football event worldwide, where billions spend a few weeks loving random countries and players perform really well for no reason. But in FC26, it's nothing more than a watered down Euros with a few glitches just thrown in for fun. For a series that once said it was meant to be the most realistic and the most spectacular game in footballing history, this kind of just feels lazy, and it's probably the most soulless version yet. If EA can't even get the basics of a World Cup right, which every football fan loves, then what hope do we really have for the future of career mode? Let me know what you think in the comments below, and if you've got any suggestions that you think make national team management more fun, then please do let me know those as well. But thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you want to see more content for FC26, but I'll see you soon. Cheers for watching, thanks, and goodbye.